After the success of the first LEGO Star Wars game, a sequel was obviously in the works. It came out a year later in 2006 for nearly every console during the time. As I stated in my last retrospective, the original LEGO Star Wars had laid the groundwork for the future games in the series. So throughout this video, you're gonna see me compare the two games quite a bit. With that said, let's look at LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. The beginning of the game is nearly identical to the original. The classic Star Wars theme plays and the logo of the game appears. The game also starts you out with two characters. However, instead of Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the two characters are Princess Leia and some random rebel dude. Yeah, I didn't really bother looking up his actual name. But the similarities between the two games don't end there. You get placed in a hub world. However, this one is modeled off the Cantina in A New Hope, which I think is a cool touch. Its purpose is for you to get to level and to buy characters and upgrades. There are a few new differences though. For one, you can now make your own character here. I tried it out a few times when I first played the game as a kid, and I did now too. I think it's a neat feature, but I don't mind just using the characters that have already been made. Let's take a look at the actual game though. The game follows a very similar format of the previous LEGO Star Wars game. There are 6 levels in each episode. Every level still starts out with a yellow scrolling text to provide information on what is happening in the story and what you'll be doing in the level itself. The cutscenes also return, and they're just as good as before. One difference I noticed though from the original was the humor. Now, I stated that cutscenes in the first game had a little bit of humor, but it still kept a more serious tone. In this game, however, every scene has some kind of humor incorporated into it. When I was a kid, I didn't like this at all. As I was too young to watch the Star Wars movies, I wanted the game to be as much like them as possible. As time went on, I grew to like the silliness of the game, and I think it works very well. Speaking of the silliness, that's one thing you're going to see a lot more in this game. From extras that you can buy, to the personalities of the characters and how they act. There are even some things in the level itself that'll make you laugh. Let's take a look at the levels now. The same basic feel and structure from the first game is here, but I feel like there's just more. For one, the levels are, generally speaking, kind of long, but not so long that I got bored. This is one thing I didn't touch on in my last retrospective. The levels in the original game were all over the place. Some were very short, others were that perfect length, and every once in a while there would be a level that went on for just way too long. Here, the levels are almost always the same length, which was nice. Besides the length of the levels, I noticed that they all seem to have a bit more content in them. There's some new elements, such as characters being able to build objects, secret areas that only certain types of characters can get into, vehicles and machines that can be used, and some of the types of characters seem to be a bit more fleshed out. Speaking of characters, there's a brand new type, which are called bounty hunters. They are like the shooters, but can also throw bombs. I found them to be a nice addition. However, the high jumping characters are no longer here. The game also embraces a concept that was only briefly touched on by the original game, and that is the vehicle levels. Personally, I would be fine without any of these kinds of levels. I hated them when I was a kid, and I still hate them now. They're hard to control, a bit disorienting at times, and they're just so different from the rest of the game. I wouldn't say that they are unplayable, I just really don't like them. There aren't just more things in the levels, the game itself has a ton more content, mostly collectibles. New types of collectibles are introduced, gold bricks and red bricks. As I stated in my last retrospective, the collectible searching is one of the best parts of the game, and the same can be said here. The stud collecting has returned, but now has the title of True Jedi, and will earn you a gold brick, which we'll get to in just a sec. The mini-kits have also returned, but they feel a bit different. By this I mean they're more cleverly hidden in the last game, and I have no problem with that. Now let's talk about those gold bricks I mentioned. Gold bricks can be collected by completing a level in the story mode, and in free play. They are also obtained by achieving True Jedi in the story mode and collecting all 10 mini-kit parts. A few of the gold bricks can also be bought at the store in the hub world, and the rest of them are collected by completing special missions in the game. In total, there are 99 of them to collect. But what do these gold bricks even do, you're wondering? Well, by collecting enough of them, you'll get some extras and bonuses. And finally, the red bricks. Unlike the gold bricks, there's just one to collect in each level. All they do is allow you to buy cheats in the cantina, such as the mini-kit detector or a money multiplier. As a kid, I never really bothered to try and collect every single thing in the game. I basically just ignored everything except the mini-kits and the studs, as those were what I was familiar with from the original. Playing through the game now, I think the gold bricks and the red bricks are a nice addition and will definitely lengthen your game, both by trying to collect all of them and the extra content that is unlocked by getting them. There are also more characters to get. However, a lot of them are just identical to each other, but I still like to try and collect them all. And that was LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. It was definitely as good, if not better, than the original game. It definitely improved on the foundation and added so many new elements. While there were some things I didn't like back then, and still don't like now, I know I can always come back to this game and have a good time.